The 1973 Roe v. Wade case paved the way for modern-day feminism and opened up conversations about women's reproductive health for years to come.
The court said in a 7-2 decision that in the first 3 months of pregnancy, only the woman and her physician may decide whether she may have an abortion. In the second 3 months, all the state may do is regulate abortion procedures. And only in the final 3 months of pregnancy can the state forbid abortion. The court ruled in cases from Texas and Georgia, but all 50 states are effective, whatever their laws. New York State has a liberal law, but that hasn't ended the bitter fight over legal abortions. And Betty Rowland reports on the New York reaction to today's ruling.
In 1916, Margaret Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in Brooklyn, New York. A week later, she was arrested. Her arrest garnered major media attention, which led to the courts giving physicians the ability to prescribe contraceptives to women. This allowed Sanger to open a clinic in 1923, the Planned Parenthood Federation of America.
Margaret Sanger has a really complicated history, and it's important to remember that some of the things that she promoted involved eugenics, and so we don't want to overly glamorize or valorize her as the leader or the originator of the movement. But that said, her mother had many, many children, and so she saw the impact that not being able to control your own reproduction had on poverty, on being able to control the course of your life.
I heard over and over again of their desperate measures to end their pregnancy. Drinking various herb teas, taking drops of turpentine on sugar, steaming over boiling water, rolling down stairs, and finally inserting slippery elm sticks or sewing needles or shoe hooks into their uterus.
So, when abortion was illegal, pre-Roe, there were folks who had to use unsafe methods to access abortion illegally. So folks who would perform abortions on themselves, or who would go to, doctors or other folks, and because there was no regulation, it was, kind of a scary, dangerous situation for a lot of women. A lot of women, lost their lives because of unsafe abortion.
From around 1880 to 1930, the U.S. began the criminalization of abortions. Therefore, the percentage of deaths caused by unsafe abortions grew, and by 1930, 18% of maternal deaths were due to unsafe illegal abortions.
January 22nd, 1973 will stand out as one of the great days for freedom and free choice. This allows a woman free choice as whether or not to remain pregnant. This is extraordinary.
New York's liberal abortion law was passed more than 2 years ago.
Good
more
evening.
than 400,000
ruling,
abortions
the
have been
Supreme Court
successfully
today
performed.
legalized
Nevertheless,
abortions.
opposition
The
has been
majority
bitter
in
and
cases from
continual.
Texas and
The
Georgia
law
said
was
that the
actually
decision to
repealed
end a
last year,
pregnancy
but Governor
during the
Nelson
first 3
Rockefeller
months
vetoed the
belongs
repeal.
to the woman
With
and
yet
her
another
doctor,
attempt at
not
repeal
the
underway.
government. Thus,
Today's
It's been a long history of abortion rights. Before Roe, of course, there were always abortions. And the people who support restrictions on abortions always say their argument is we're going to ban abortions. Over the years, it's activated not only women, but women and men.
In 1971, a woman in Texas named Norma McCorvey was in need of an abortion. At the time, however, abortion was not legal in the United States. Because of this, she decided to take the issue to court with the help of Sarah Weddington, a lawyer in Texas.
So she was, of course, Jane Roe. Nobody knew who she was for a long time, actually. She was kind of, I don't know what her beliefs were necessarily, but she needed an abortion. And so she had one that was illegal. And Sarah Weddington, they found her, and she agreed to be part of the case that went forward, actually. And she was active in the pro-choice movement.
The Supreme Court today ruled that abortion is completely a private matter to be decided by mother and doctor in the first 3 months of pregnancy. The 7-2 ruling to that effect will probably result in a drastic overhaul of state laws on abortion.
I was a newspaper reporter in Washington, D.C. when the Roe v. Wade decision was announced. It came at the same time that Lyndon Johnson died. The impact was, there was a women's march in 1976 in Washington, D.C., and we were living there. And I know that my wife and some of her friends marched in that march.
In fact, the 1973 Roe v. Wade case went on to inspire hundreds of protests, marches, and conversations across the nation for decades to come. Women's marches helped spread awareness for reproductive health and made the point that reproductive autonomy should be a given right. For there are many things in this life beyond our control, but pregnancy should not be one of them. And after 1973, with the establishment of more birth control clinics, there was an overall increase in the knowledge regarding fundamental reproductive health, including safe contraception and abortions and sex education. What started as just a small operation to help women in the slums of Manhattan struggling with unsafe pregnancies then became a Supreme Court case which swept the nation. It roped abortion rights into the complex world of politics and brought reproductive autonomy to the American people. In these ways, Roe v. Wade has continued to cause a lasting impact on Americans. And while flawed, the people who helped highlight this issue had a much greater impact than anyone can comprehend. Millions of Americans were impacted in some way by this case.
Before Roe, women were having abortions. They just weren't having safe and legal abortions, and that's really what overturning Roe has done. Is now it really made it difficult for women to have access to abortion. Women want, and women have a lot of reasons to have an abortion. These are individual decisions, and to have a law banning abortion, what it's done, of course, is make people travel a lot further and spend more money and not be able to get them. So it's the overturning of Roe has really had a negative impact to a lot of women.